my name is Lori, my nickname is Rini, and this is Rini Bobini Creations. Over the last few tutorials we have been working on these little dragon boxes. If you haven't checked out already, the first one was how to make the eye, the second one was how to apply the eye to the box and give it the ridges. The third one was doing the dragon skin around the eye and the bricks. So that's where we're at. Please hit a like, subscribe, notifications, all that good stuff. Leave me a comment if there's things I need to be doing better or something else you'd like to see. You can also check out my Facebook page, Rini Bobini Creations, and see some of the other things I've made. And if you're interested, I can do tutorials on that as well. So we'll bring you up to speed where we're at here. So this is where we are with our dragon box. I'm going to go ahead and you're going to paint the whole thing black. Everything, obviously, except for the eye. So we're going to do that, and then we will move on to the next step. So I'm just going to change the camera around so you can see what we're doing. Our painting on our dragon box, in the interest of time, I've just gone ahead and painted it all black. You're going to need some paints. Now I'm going to do my bricks in the brick red. If you want to do them in gray or whatever other color you want to do them in, please feel free. The technique will be the same. So I'm going to paint the bricks red. Then you're going to need your black paint. You will need your black paint again after to touch up the bricks and give them the depth to them. And then I've got 3 metallic paints. So I've got this bronze color that I'm going to use on the tree, the silver for the most of the box, which I'll show you. And then I also have the teal that I'm going to do around the dragon's eye. So I'm going to make him sort of a teal color. So you're going to need some paints, your water, of course, and a paintbrush. And that's about it for this one. So we'll go ahead, and I'm just going to start by painting the bricks in the red, and we're going to let those dry while we paint the rest. So, and it doesn't have to be a perfectly good job. Like, it can be kind of like you can see there, like it's not a perfect coverage, and it doesn't need to be, because this is going to be what gives it sort of the depth after. So just like this. We're just going to paint her on there like that. Like I said, not perfect coverage. We just kind of want shallow one. I'm just going to give it a bit more there to get the red showing. There we go. Rinse my brush off here, and that's about all we'll need for the red. So while that's drying, I'm going to show you the metallic technique that we use that really brings out the details, like in the trees and around the eyes and all of that. So I think we'll start with the tree. So for that, I'm going to use my bronze paint. Now this is just the Folk Art Plaid in the bronze. Or sorry, what did it say? Yes, it is solid bronze. So for that, you're going to clean off your paintbrush, and then you're going to dry it really well. So we want it to be quite dry, our paintbrush. So just going to dry it out, and it doesn't even matter if there's still some black or red on there, because by the time you've gotten it off, it'll be fine. And you want you don't want your brush to be too soft. You want it to be fairly stiff, the bristles. So then we're going to just dip it in a little bit, and I'm just using the lid, but you can use a palette if you want to. Get some on there, and then I'm going to brush a lot of it off. All right, so we've brushed a great deal of it off, so it's a fairly dry brush now. And I'm just going to go up and over the tree. And I'm hoping that the lighting is okay, that you can see how this is working. And just as much or as little as you like. And of course the paint goes on the high spots the best, and so it really brings out the detail in our bark and our branches. And if you do find you need a little more, I just go right back to my paper towel and take it off of there. And that should be quite enough, maybe even too much. There. And depending on what I'm doing, what part I'm doing, what I want to stand out, depends how much paint I will take off. So sometimes I leave, like this tree, I've left a little bit more on. When I do the dragon skin, I'm going to take quite a bit more off. So there we go. And you'll find when you put a coat of varnish on, now I like to use the high gloss on these. Generally speaking, I kind of like the more matte look, but on these I find it really makes those metallics stand out really, really well. All right, so there's our bronze. So again, I'm just going to give my brush a bit of a cleaning. Dry it off again. Now I'm going to go with the teal and do right around the eye. Same thing, because I just need a little bit, I just take it from the lid, brush it off, and then we go around the eye. And you'll see how it really starts to make those ridges and those eyebrow scales, I guess, really stand out. I'm going to use a little bit more on this guy. So this, unlike, when we were pouncing the tissue paper and even the paint into the crevices, we're not going to do that with this. We want it to just hit the high spots and bring out the detail in the ridges. And so when you've got some on there and you're happy with the effect, and of course you can always go back over after it's good and dry if you find you want it to have a bit more. I think I'm just going to do these back ones a bit more. You can always go back over them after as well. Now, if you find you had too much paint on your paintbrush, you can just take a little piece of paper towel or a sponge and just sponge it off and go over it again, or just take off what you need there. So that's around the eye. Now for the dragon skin itself, I'm going to go with a silver. Now I got this silver, it's outdoor metallic silver. And I'm going to, I probably need to shake that one's new. Sorry about that. All right, there we go. So same thing, exactly. I'm not going to even wet my brush in between. I'm just going to dry brush it off. I probably have a little bit much on there. And now we're going to do the same thing and just go over the dragon skin. Now I'm going to go back over the dragon skin with more teal after as well. Because I kind of want both colors on there to separate from the part, from just the sky and the wrinkles, which I'll show you as well here too. Okay, so that's my dragon eye scales. Now I'm going to go back over it with the teal. And the reason I'm using the two colors is I find it just kind of gives it more separation, I guess. I'm going to go with the teal again. Pounce it off, get your brush dry, and then go over it again. And you can go any way you want. You don't have to, keep your brush strokes going the same way with this sort of painting. You just want to have a fairly light hand. That's sort of the most important part. It's just not painting it on thick like you would for, some other projects that we do. So there's the eye and the scales. Now I'm going to go back into the silver, and I'm going to do the parts that are just sort of sky, I guess you would say, or background. It's probably a better way to say it. Again, pouncing my silver off, and then I'm just going to go everywhere that is background. And again, do it very lightly, and all those little ridges from our crinkled paper are going to show and stand up, and that's the kind of look that I'm kind of going for here. So even in between the tree branches. And doing that makes like the branches and the eye really pop right out. So I think we're good with that. And again, if you, when it dries, you think, I need some more, just go ahead and keep adding until you're happy with it. All right. So now what I'm going to do, yeah, our bricks are dry enough. Now I'm almost okay with the bricks the way they are, but I am going to do just the same thing, but I'm going to dry brush with the black now over the red. So you want to get a good portion of that black off, because we're not trying to paint them black. We're just trying to bring the ridges and the dimensions out in the brick. So just a little bit. And I can see I still have some silver on my brush, but I'm okay with that actually. And now I'm going to do the same thing with the red. I'm going to dry brush red over, and doing the 2 layers will really kind of give it that dimension and the texture of the brick on there. So again, we're going to dry our brush. We want it to be quite dry, quite stiff. You don't want a super soft brush for this. Brushing the red off again. And you'll kind of get to know by how it looks on the paper towel when you have it. You kind of get to know how much you want off by how much is coming off still on the paper towel. So there's our bricks. So that's really all you need to do, and the front of your box is done. And normally I would do the painting once I finish the whole box, but I know that you can do it different ways, and this will get you really started, and you've kind of done a start to finish. You'll just learn to play with some of the other elements a little bit more. Now what I will do is I'm going to take some nail polish remover and a Q-tip, and I'm going to shine up my eye and clean them up from any of the paint or anything that's got on there and really make them stand out. And then I'm going to put a coat of high gloss varnish. You don't have to use the high gloss. Some people really like the matte look. As I said earlier, I really like the way that the high gloss makes the metallics kind of stand out. You can also, I've seen it where they've done the bronzes on the bricks. That looks really effective too. I've seen them kind of, instead of cutting like bricks, I have done where you cut them more like just random rocks and done them in the gray with a little bit of silver, and they look really good too. So we're going to finish the front of our box, and then on our next tutorial I'll show you a couple of other techniques. That's why I saved the back. So we'll do the back next week, or sorry, next tutorial, hopefully in 2 days. And you'll be able to incorporate all the different elements into whatever you're doing, whether it's a wine bottle or a book cover or whatever you're doing. So we'll leave that one for now. I will varnish it and show you the finished product when we're done our whole thing. Thanks so much for watching. Again, please leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe, share, whatever. I would really appreciate it. And we will carry on in our next tutorial.